Today is the final day of Prince William's historic trip to Israel. Wrapping up the journey, the Duke of Cambridge visited the holy city of Jerusalem, where he overlooked the Mount of Olives and, of course, prayed for peace at the sacred Western Wall. He was even welcomed and allowed to enter the Dome of the Rock, a sacred Muslim site on the Temple Mount where non-Muslims are typically not allowed.
This concludes a very memorable trip for Prince William. To date, this is the first official state visit by a member of British royalty to the region in nearly 70 years. Needless to say, the trip was more than welcome. Prince William also made a personal visit while in Jerusalem. He took time to visit the grave of his great-grandmother, Princess Alice of Battenberg, who's buried at the Church of St. Mary Magdalene. But we'd be remiss if we didn't mention our personal favorite highlight of the journey, a powwow with Israel's Eurovision champ, Netta Barzilai. Spectators jammed the streets trying to catch a glimpse of these two together yesterday afternoon. Though the UK scheduled the trip to be specifically non-political, certain details along the way may suggest otherwise. Yesterday, while meeting with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in the West Bank, Prince William seemingly recognized the state of Palestine by saying this.
And I'm very glad that our two countries work so closely together and have had success stories with education and relief work in the past. So long may that continue. And my sentiments are the same as yours in hoping that there's a lasting peace for the region.
On top of that, Prince William's official itinerary lists holy sites in Jerusalem as part of the occupied Palestinian territories. A gesture made clear by the fact that Prince William apparently refused to meet with Jerusalem's mayor, Nir Barkat. The United Kingdom may feel that such a meeting would have been a symbolic acceptance of Israel's claim to Jerusalem, which both Israel and the Palestinians see as their capital. Politics aside, though, it's hard to overstate just how thrilled people were to see a real-life actual prince in their midst. Hopefully, it won't be too long before the region gets another royal visitor.
Well, moving our focus now to Iran. Ever since President Trump removed the United States from the JCPOA Iranian nuclear deal, a lot has happened. While the remaining signatories try to work out a new agreement, the Iranian regime has resumed uranium enrichment far above what's been allowed, just in case the deal completely collapses. Even more shocking, a nuclear enrichment plant closed since 2009 has just been reopened for this express purpose. Well, with anti-regime protests in Tehran gaining speed and U.S. sanctions soon to resume, many are questioning just how much longer Iran can hold out. Joining us now with more is retired Colonel Dr. Ephraim Khan, a senior research associate at the Israeli Institute for National Security Studies. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so let's start with this, reopened enrichment plant. Not only is Iran bringing in more of this yellow cake, which is, used to enrich uranium, they're also enriching uranium far beyond what they're allowed to. Does this, signify that the deal is dead here?
Probably yes, not because of what Iran is doing, but because of what the American administration is doing. Because once the Americans withdrew from the agreement is really not going to work. For the time being, Iran has not decided what to do. The European countries have not decided what to do. But I think, in my judgment, the agreement is almost dead and might be dead within a short period of time.
So let's talk about the sanctions then in this case. The U.S. is scheduled to resume financial sanctions, obviously against Iran in August. But is this enough to fight the regime and stop the regime from gaining nuclear power here?
If we see what happens now in Iran, in the economic field, I would say, I'm not sure it's enough, but it is a lot of beyond what the Iranians expected to have. Because the economic situation started to deteriorate in Iran already two and a half years ago, before President Trump was elected. Now, President Trump is saying explicitly that he regards Iran as the most important friend in the Middle East, to the U.S. interest, to the allies of the United States, above all to Israel. And he decided to fight against Iran. He declared a kind of war against Iran, not in the military sense, but in the economic sense. And this is a major threat for Iran.
Well, it's certainly frightening to hear this latest news about what is happening with uranium enrichment in Iran. Thank you so much for joining us.